Stan, here we are. I know sometimes I say serious video, then I proceed to muck around. This is a serious video, and I was in two minds whether to do it. This will become relevant later on. I do have a habit of collecting certain types of things, as you all know, binoculars, helmets. I do like a tankard, pewter, silver. When servicemen have done it, it's not really something official, but it's been awarded to somebody, where they've been stationed. I like cheap ones. This one, £10. It wasn't worth anything at all, really. And on it says, I have cleaned it up a bit. Presented to Flight Lieutenant J.G. Saye by the officers of 234 Squadron, 1965-1966. Just an eBay purchase. The person selling it had the name down as F.G. Saye. Now, I looked that up, couldn't find anything. And I'm thinking, Flight Lieutenant, that's actually a J. It's not an F. So I looked that up, and I did pick up on somebody straight away. And that person was Flight Lieutenant, or later Group Captain, Jeremy Geoffrey Saye. So we'll look into this a little bit. I was under the impression that he'd served at RAF Tangmere. Now, that closed in 1970. So I thought, internet again, could be right, could be wrong, that he was the wing commander, I think that's the right word, at RAF Tangmere in the 1970s. But that's not true. And I contacted the Tangmere RAF Museum, and the guy got in touch with me, said, the officer in charge, Jeremy Saye, was the officer in charge of number 1 Squadron Harriers and based at Wittering from July 1976 to July 1978. The 234 Squadron was disbanded on the 15th of July 1957. So he was under the impression that this guy couldn't have been at 234 Squadron. Unsure about that. I mean, he possibly joined the RAF earlier on, obviously. Now, when you start looking into people, you bring up all sorts of things. Now, tragically, his father died whilst still in the RAF in the 1950s. I got this off a sort of PDF file, is it? It was to do with RAF fathers and sons, brothers serving in the RAF together at the same time, I believe. I think it was called Keep It in the Family. So Jeremy's father was Air Vice Marshal Geoffrey Ivan Lawrence Saye, officer commanding Number 19 Group, Coastal Command since 1956. Now, he was taken ill and died during the disbandment ceremony for Number 228 Squadron, RAF Station St. Ival, Cornwall, on the 6th of March 1959, aged 52. His death occurred after he had taken the last salute of the squadron. So that is a tragic thing. So now, obviously, sometimes when people like us, like me, who are researching stuff from World War II, World War One, it's easy to look into these things because especially World War One, obviously World War One, but more likely now these days World War Two, the people have passed on. And I actually found a posting in the paper that actually he finished his service, Jeremy Geoffrey Saye, as a group captain, and he died the 5th of January this year. He's 86. So if any of the family don't agree with me putting this video up, because obviously it's only 9 months ago, I'll gladly take it down. So why are you doing it, Stan? Well, I'm obviously people pass on memorabilia, medals, uniforms, all the sort of kit that service people acquire during their lives. Otherwise, people like me wouldn't be able to collect it. And I'm just wondering, this item's not worth anything at all. I'm just wondering how it come to be, basically on eBay, so quick after the guy's death. I mean, I hope that it hasn't been on the market for the wrong reasons, if you get what I mean, that it hasn't been taken from somewhere it shouldn't have been. And obviously, if the family were looking to have this back in the collection of a relative of Mr. Saye or Group Captain Saye, they'd be more welcome to contact me. I mean, that's goes without saying. I don't want to tread on anyone's toes. That makes sense. Now, the guy at Tangmere Air Museum suggested I get this book, number one in War and Peace, and what I will do is quickly, I'll show you a photograph, because the actual guy's photograph's in here. I've just pulled out both my markers. So that's the fella there, him. That is Wing Commander J.G. Saye, 1 Squadron, 1976, 1978. So there's a few items in here about him, about he. I won't read it all. So Wing Commander Peter Taylor's reign came to an end in July 1976, and it was handed over to Commander J.G. Saye. And then they went. It goes on to describe various exercises with the American Marines, the French Air Force, and RAF Leeming, Turkish airfields. And I mean, I'm not going to go into the big reading of it all, but there is various paragraphs in here that Jeremy Saye describes the exercises were on. Sorry. So I mean, he says here that being an old timer, I noticed at the time it was somewhat ironic that we were preparing to go into potential air-to-air shooting for the war using fixed sight technique, not much different from that used by our predecessors in World War II. So I haven't read this book yet, but I will go on to read it. And he ended up in Belize, and there is I should probably put a link in below. I can't remember the name of the thing. If I remember, I'll put a link in. There is a bit of footage from the 1970s, a little documentary about the British Army in Belize, and it shows you the Harriers landing and taking off. I forgot to do that, actually. You know what I'm like. But the individual aircraft had names written on their tailplanes. Wing Commander Saye's read Jeremy's Jungle Jumper. So that's an interesting bit of history there. And he ended up, sorry, I've lost my little space here. If you just give me a second. Can't find it. Anyway, I'll have to leave it there. But he did leave that post in 1978. So July 1978. So yeah, so I hope that's clear enough. Sort of amazing what little bits of history you can pick up. Okay, it's not World War II, but now I've learnt something about this guy himself, about his father, and his tragic death. And again, if any of the family, I will title this Wing Commander J.G. Saye, so that if there's anyone out there, I mean, basically, I may as well just say how I think that, you know, there is sort of maybe 3 ways that these sort of things end up on the collector's market. The family just want to give it all away. They're not interested, or financially they might need for it. Yeah, well, that's the second one. Like, financially, people might pass it on. This isn't worth a great deal of money. There is probably, you know, I've done it before where I've bought things and I returned it to the family because it had been stolen years before. That's obviously an awful thing if that's happened. It might have been that Wing Commander Saye left this in an RAF mess somewhere on a base, and he moved on, the base closed, and this has just been, you know, consigned to the bin. No one really noticed, or he passed it on to someone as a keepsake for themselves, and they died and their family didn't want it. So yeah, an interesting one that. But that is, at the time, Flight Lieutenant Jeremy Geoffrey Saye of 234 Squadron from 1965 to 1966 at Saye Tankard, and a nice little bit of research for Steel Helmet Stan. Oh, nearly 9, well, it's over 9 minutes of me talking. Time for a light refreshment. This is Stan, and I will see ya.